Welcome to qnawire.
While this problem may look like it's very complicated, the math is actually pretty simple. So let's just take it step by step. So for letter A, how does N, the number of firms in the market, affect each firm's demand curve? Why? Well, if we just look at the equation for demand, Q equals 100 divided by N minus P, what can we immediately tell? As N increases, quantity will decrease. So as more firms enter a market, each firm's demand curve is going to decrease. And that should make sense because there's increased competition, so each individual firm is going to produce less. Okay, so that's letter A taken care of. How about B? How many units does each firm produce? Remember that firms always produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So we just take the two equations that we were given for marginal revenue and marginal cost, and we equate them right here. Then all we have to do is use simple algebra to solve for Q, and we get this. Q is equal to 25 over N. So each firm will produce 25 divided by N as their quantity. Okay, for C, what price does each firm charge? Well, we know from the demand function that price is dependent upon Q and N, and we now know what Q is as a function of N. In other words, we can take the equations from part A and part B and put them together here in part C to get 25 over N equals 100 over N minus P, and then you just solve for P. Again, simple algebra, and you get 75 divided by N. For part D, how much profit does each firm make? Remember that profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. We were already given total cost, but not total revenue. So how do we actually find total revenue? Well, remember that total revenue is just quantity times price. We already know what quantity is, and we already know what price is. We know what the total cost is because that was given. So everywhere there's a Q, we're going to insert the formula for Q, and we get this real long equation here for profit. And while it may look intimidating, it's really not. Again, just simple algebra is all we need, and you'll get this as your answer. 1,250 divided by n squared minus 50. Okay? That is your profit. So the last part of the question asks, in the long run, how many firms will exist in this market? You have to remember that in the long run, what does profit equal? In the long run, profit always equals zero. Again, these are economic profits, not accounting profits. So if that's the case, if profit is equal to zero, then all you do is you set 1,250 divided by n squared minus 50. You set that equal to zero, and you solve for it, and you will get n equals 5. In other words, once there are 5 firms in this market, profits equal zero, and no additional firms have any incentive to enter the market.